Okay, welcome everyone to the March 5th iteration of the MicroProfile live Hangout. Do we have a link to the meeting minutes in the chat? Let me do this. Chat and paste it in. There we go. And Emily, if you could just be a little extra wary of people joining, since we have a lower than normal attendance right now.
I think David wants to join, but I'd be holding. I was on hold for like 1 hour, 1 minute. So,
well, that was my fault. We kind of noticed. Whoa. Yeah. So yeah, Emily, just keep an eye on that. Okay. So there's David. Okay. Let's see. Welcome to the March 5th iteration of the MicroProfile Live Hangout. A link to the meeting minutes is in the chat. Please add yourself as an attendee. And let's see. Does everyone share responsibility to take notes? This meeting is being recorded, and it will make its way to YouTube. Okay. So today I don't have a whole lot today. In the broad sense, gonna talk about the release. Gonna talk about a couple of ballots that we're going to start. Some miscellaneous general stuff. Probably talk just a little bit about the tutorial. I don't want to spend too much time on it since we typically do. Okay. So under general, the MicroProfile wiki is live. So just a heads up on that. So it is now officially on our GitHub. So anyone that is a committer can edit the wiki. I haven't tried it. Well, I've tried it, but others I don't know if have tried it, but I'm sure it'll work just fine. I am going to start a ballot to invite the Garden State Jug. We have Mike on, and I did ping him last night, and he was like, "Yeah, cool." So I will be starting a ballot for that today after the call. So there will be a guest member, which means no voting privileges, but they get to attend all of our steering committee calls, which they can do anyway.
Yeah, it's open anyway, but it's great.
But they will. Sorry, but they will get on. But they will get on our membership page as a guest member, and they're Mike's great about participating. So that'd be
awesome.
Say,
Mike?
Mike?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say for the record, so everybody knows, we were contributing members, but we unfortunately didn't have the enough funds to pay for this year. So hopefully we'll get back on track with that next year.
You got this. You guys got this. I know.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was. We were disappointed, but at least we're still part of it.
But thank you so much for having joined in the first place. You guys were instrumental in helping to form the working group, and we're greatly appreciative of you all. And, thank you on behalf of the entire community.
Yeah, David,
thanks.
you nailed it.
Appreciate that. So, yeah, no, we're really, really happy to be part of this.
Okay, let's see here. Asia Info is no longer a member of the MicroProfile working group, so don't have a whole lot of insight into it, but we were notified by Sharon. So we have 11 members, including Emerson. So that's where we're at today.
Sorry, let me interject. I will revise the forecast budget because I think we're going to lose a little bit of the budget as well. I will just send it. I will create a ticket so that we can track that, because the Eclipse Foundation won't provide the quarterly expenses, but we will. We know how much the member paid and things like this. So expect that update to come into account, especially with the expenses we will use for the Nexus coming up in April. Emerson, FYI, but we do have plenty of money to cover for that event. And we don't plan to spend all the money. So FYI, everyone.
Okay, oh, we got Nathan joining. Okay. Let's see here. The this kind of snuck up on me. The next microprofile steering committee call is March 19th. So that's going to replace the live hangout. And it'll basically probably be just like this call. Don't know if we have a whole lot of like specific agenda items outside of it'll be a good call to have everyone there for the microprofile 7 release. Let's see. One thing I haven't added here, I did send out a reminder that we do have a time change coming up. So that's in the Google group. In fact, let me pull it up here real quick, just so I have the
You did
dates.
amazing on that one. I didn't know.
Well, it was actually both Emily and I kind of realized it at about the same time. It's like holy cow. So let me paste this
What
in.
time zone are our calendar invites in?
It's I think it's just like what is it, GMT or whatever, right? So I think it's
That's not it. No, they're gonna adjust.
No, this is it.
They're gonna be the time zone of the person who made them by default. And so
Right.
some calendar. So what we should do is just kind of make sure that all of our calendars in the time zone in the same time zone. So some of them don't adjust now, and some of them adjust in 2 weeks, and we spend forever with people missing meetings. You know, we should just make sure they're all in the same time zone.
So by the way, I always my time zone math is like insane. I have a math minor and I can't figure out time zone math. So so what you're saying is it like
if you put the time zone in like say Central European time, it
right.
won't change in 2 weeks. It'll change 2 weeks later.
Right.
And then if
but right now
or the reverse.
okay.
I can't remember who changed. The US and Europe changed 2 weeks apart. So I'm just saying if the calendar is a time zone that's someplace in the US, it's going to change when the US changes. But if the calendar invite is someplace in Europe, it's going to change when Europe changes. And typically we end up with like a mix of calendar invites from different time zones. So some of them will change now, and then
right.
One group of people will be late, and then some will change later, and then a different group of people will be late.
Well, my hope is to continually send out reminders.
Yeah.
So I did create this entry, and it has the date. Sorry, Emily, go ahead.
Yeah, and also, John, I talk with you offline. I think we can adjust our calendar invite accordingly based on your notes. So basically, we have to basically in the Zoom. Otherwise, we couldn't join without the host being there. So I think this basically is the live Hangout marketing and technical call. We will basically make sure the calendar reflect what you said in the note. So everybody won't, if you sync up with the MicroProfile calendar, you will be fine. Just do not copy and paste into your own calendar.
Yeah, but we have told everyone to do that, to not copy paste.
Yeah. So again, another double warning. So we will just adjust our MicroProfile calendar accordingly based on what John said here. So you won't.
I'm not sure what that means to adjust it because it's gonna.
So at the moment, basically the in the next 3 weeks, that will be EU time, right? We will use the EU time. But at the moment, in the calendar, like next week, technical call, is kind of is the use American time. I think. Oh, hang on.
So I'll tell you what, because my time zone math is horrendous. Do you want to make any calendar modifications?
Yeah, I will do.
I'm sure I'll move it in the wrong direction.
Yeah. I think our technical call is already correct. Just need to change the basically the marketing call and the community call for that week. I will handle it, John. And after I'm done, I will let you know.
Okay, awesome. And I will not make next week's call. I have a meeting I have to attend. So alrighty. Let's see. Okay, steering committee call is March 19th, which I think still falls within the daylight savings time frame, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So that could really screw us up a little bit. Do you want to make that change as well?
Yeah.
You can just go in. Mhm.
That's basically that week I will change. Like the technical call already use the EU time zone, so that's correct. That's kind of the meet with our like what you said here. I just need to change the marketing call and live hangout.
Shouldn't we change the shouldn't the calendar times be in some sort of US time zone? Just because anything that's like evening time Europe, daytime US, it's easier for the hour to be different on the Europe side than on the US, right? Because if there's 11 o'clock block for the meeting and it's 11 o'clock Pacific, but it's like 8 p.m. or something EU time, the hour change would be 7 or something. That's still something that people could attend EU time, but that would make it say 10 a.m. Pacific or you in Pacific time. Someone's going to have it's during the day. You're going to have that blocked off.
Yeah, but the calendar shows the viewer. Let me go in here. The calendar, the MicroProfile calendar.
I just want to make sure that everyone understood what I'm saying. I don't. Did that make sense to people?
I got what you said, but I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we fall into that trap. Besides,
well, we would. So I'm just saying that yeah. There'll be 2 weeks where if we set all the calendars to EU time, which is not recommended, sometime if we set them to EU time, there'll be 2 weeks where the daytime times are 1 hour off, and the US people may not be able to attend any of those calls.
As I already said, I will update the MicroProfile calendar so everybody knows what's the time. Besides, in the springtime, we use the EU time, and in the fall time, we use US time. I don't think it's kind of change to a particular zone helps.
Yeah,
but
if the calendar time is in a specific time zone, it's going to adjust. So what you said where we use EU time in the spring and whatever in US in the fall, that's not how it works. The calendar time is the calendar time. It shifts on the time zone that is identified as the calendar's time zone.
Yeah, I know.
That's what you get.
I mean, what John said here, basically in the EU, basically in the springtime, we use the EU time, and in the fall time change, we meet the US time. So what I'm saying, whatever the time zone we use, we have to update the calendar once. But anyway, Amelia, you have something to say.
So I'm looking at the calendar. The calendar starts adjusting next week. So my recommendation when you see the calendar, it goes by the person's time zone, right? So what we need to go in, only John and Emily are the admins of Zoom provided by the Eclipse Foundation. We just need to go in there and change that because a committer like me can go and change the calendar, totally fine. But if the Zoom is not adjusted, it will revert my changes. And that is where Emily and John are trying to explain. It doesn't really matter. We can, anyone that has a commit access can adjust the calendar and create events. But if it's not adjusted in the Zoom platform, it will be reverted. So thanks,
Zoom doesn't matter. Zoom doesn't matter because Emily and I can start a Zoom call using that Zoom ID at any time.
Yeah, but it sometimes gets duplicated. Zoom is like a little bit complex, but we are spending too much time in this topic.
Let's move on.
We will trust the two of you to do this, but the calendar shows whichever time zone the viewer is at. So it doesn't really matter. And at this time, I don't even remember who created the calendar. I imagine it was in Los Angeles, right? Back in 2000.
Yeah, probably.
I can tell you right now, the community call is clearly in LA time, is in a US time zone.
Exactly. We did it.
The tech call is in an EU time zone. So it is at 12. Everyone's talking so much. Tech calls are in the EU time zone. So next week they're going to be at 12 p.m. The week after, the community call is going to be at 11 a.m. And then the week after that, the tech call will be again at 12 p.m. And then the week after that, the community call will be at 11 a.m. So those two calendars are in different time zones. That's what I was trying to tell everyone. The calendar of the time, there is a time zone associated with the calendar entry, and it shifts based upon what time zone you thinks it is. Anyway, so yeah, they're different. So we don't have to change anything. We can do it. FYI, though, if we do change the community call to be 12 p.m., a lot of us won't be able to attend.
Correct.
Well, the next community call is the steering committee call.
And it needs to be done at 11.
So if it's a different time than 11, there will be some of us who won't be able to attend.
Right.
Including David and I.
Yeah,
And
that's the
maybe-
one thing I didn't plan was the steering committee call to land on a time zone change. And to be honest, it's like it's 2 weeks, so we can't even really delay it beyond, into April because it doesn't meet the charter.
Yeah, we got to do it in a quarter. So
yeah.
We can just
So
do it.
anyway, like I said, there's not going to be anything in the steering committee call that we wouldn't handle in a normal live hangout. I don't think there's anything special per se that we have to cover. Probably program plan stuff and the release. All right, so let's I'm gonna try and move on here. Emily?
Yeah, so basically it's based on the technical call. So quite a few people interested in the AI discussion. So basically MicroProfile AI. So I created a doodle poll and announced it in both Google group and a working group. So for people to add their name and show their availability, and then I will create a meeting and have some brainstorm. Yeah, that's all. I plan to basically encourage people to put their name in this week, and sometime next week I will create a course, and then we will start a conversation probably week after. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I moved things around a little bit because I don't want to lump everything in general. So I try to move things into their respective
Yeah, good point.
areas. So moving on here, MicroProfile 7 discussion. So 3 plan review ballots in progress. Okay, so you've already started 3 of them?
Yeah, and then I also voted. So please vote before Thursday this week. So it's time is running out.
Okay, and let's see here. I'll put that up here real quick.
With the plan review, can I ask Emerson, you are the trainee. How are you feeling about the release? Now that you are a committer, are you able to do the reviews and do some things like this, or it's not in your capabilities due to work and things like that? How is that going for you?
It starts checking the original pull request. I remember some part of the process, but I will need some help, for sure.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the actual builds of the spec yet. So that's where I think we'll all hop on a call, me, you, and Emily, Emerson, and probably do that. And then, but yeah, doing the, sorry, I know I'm moving around. I apologize. Sorry, I'm gonna pull up my, pull it up here in a different, no, that's not what I wanted. Is it here? I think it's here. Let's try, yeah, so we have the plan reviews for each of the specs here. So I've been Emily tagged me on some of these. I'm not sure if oops, I thought I reviewed this one. This is the one I haven't reviewed yet. Okay, yeah, I've reviewed this one. Yeah, see, yeah, Emerson has been added to some of these as well. So
I am using that one.
yeah, and I can see that you've
Yeah,
approved, I've approved.
yeah.
So yeah, we aren't necessarily the experts on all these specs, but just in terms of like correctness, in terms of whether it's grammatical or historical context being applied to these things, like that's where I haven't done anything with telemetry yet, but I still reviewed that one and provided some feedback just on wording and stuff like that.
Cool.
So
Question on it looks like we update up the Jakarta version to 10 on all those 3 specs. Why? Did we take advantage of Jakarta E features in those specifications?
That's basically the align with the Jakarta E10 core profile. So that's basically in 6.1, basically that's kind of we pull in that dependency. And
Right,
then
but-
it's kind of just saying this is no longer packaged, but it's still loosely coupled. We based on this. So all the API dependencies will be based on this core profile.
Right. Yeah, but didn't we have a vote that said we're going to compile low and run high?
The low is Jakarta E10.
Did we add features to the individual component specifications that make it so it isn't possible to run it on a lower version? Like what EE10 feature are we taking advantage of in, say, JWT?
I do not know. I don't think we take. I do not know. Like
Right.
JWT's story.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I just want to be clear that if we are not actually creating APIs that require, like, take advantage of like Jakarta 10 features, we would vote -1 on all of these review ballots. Just because we did have a vote about compile low, run high. We had 2 votes, one for the Java SE and one for Jakarta, the Jakarta E version. We did all vote +1 on the compile low, run high for both of those. You also voted +1 on that, Emily. And that agreement was that we're not going to just, for the sake of it, just increase the Jakarta EE spec requirements, even though we're not actually leveraging those things in the specifications. All it does is just eliminate options that could be certified, and we did agree. All right, in MicroProfile 6, we lost the battle on the umbrella spec, and then everyone said you can certify individually at the component spec level. But now we're yanking that on the component spec level, so we can't even do that.
For the so there's 2 things. For MicroProfile 7. So for MicroProfile 7, because it's on top of 6 and 6.1. 6 and 6.1 already pull in the Jakarta E10 core profile. I don't think it makes sense to go back. Okay, go back to the Jakarta 9.1. The main reason to base the Jakarta E10 core profile because of the TCKs. It has a CDI light. There's no such thing CDI light in Jakarta E9 9.1. The other thing is for the individual spec, even though because all the dependencies provided, you can pull in, use a lower version if you wish.
That's not what the certification that if it's possible for someone to certify on, say, Jakarta EE 9.1, great, but we need to make sure that that's clear, because the release, the ballot says aligns with EE10 core profile, and for MicroProfile 6, that meant even though you could implement MicroProfile 6 on Jakarta EE 9.1, no one would be allowed to certify.
And
So
let me
no, do not pick up from there. So is it are we going to allow implementations of, say, JWT that are on EE91? Because, by the way, that is currently what we're shipping and certifying, and the individual specifications are all we have left after the umbrella doesn't allow us to have certification at the MicroProfile 6 level, even though we could pass that test.
I think for individual spec is different, but for overall MicroProfile 7, you must do either E10 core profile or later. So
Yeah,
for
but the individual spec, right?
individual
So-
spec, I think you can certify using a different, something different.
Then
So
we
it's,
can't make the TCKs. We can't make the TCKs dependent on 10.
I think because all the dependency provided, you can, you can pull in the lower one, but I don't think kind of the 9.1 is the mainstream. I think we discussed the E7 kind of basically the bigger plan, the huge dog. We already said agreed that E10 is the baseline. I think
Right.
has been
That's yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to give some words in there, Jan, go ahead.
I just, Emily said that already, so I lowered my hand. The CDI Lite was, yeah, one of the options the core profile of Jakarta E10 brings in. So if somebody wants not to support the full CDI spec, which is required when you use a 9.1 version, then you need to move. And I think that was one of the driving forces pushing that to 10. And there's another reason discussed the last weeks. They are based on the MicroProfile parent 3.x version and not on the 2.x version. And the 2.x version has some CVEs that cannot be fixed because TestNG is not fixing them. And it's impossible because the minimum Java SE version need to be raised for getting the TestNG fixes in.
Yeah, but that's kind of a fundamental issue that we are packing test dependencies and CVs in test dependencies with compile of the low run high, because like it has nothing to do with the Jakarta version.
Exactly. I think what confusing things here, and let me interject. It seems to me that in the release, we're just bumping into Jakarta because we want to support that project. It has no technical value to our APIs. We said and we voted twice on being able to not do that by having a process that protects the projects to do this. And every single time we have only IBM as an implementer of 6.1. Do we want that week of a release without very much many other implementers and the diversity and the neutrality a release needs? Because
let's just be real simple about it. If we leave the Jakarta dependency levels the way they are now, all those TCKs run fine on Jakarta E10. We did some adjustments so they could also run on Jakarta E9. We did those adjustments in MicroProfile 6. So in MicroProfile 6, we did actually fix the TCKs so that they could be run on 10, and we left the capability for them to run on 9.1. We should keep them that way. We shouldn't change anything.
So I'm looking here at the spec I have highlighted on the screen. And this is, I just picked fault tolerance just because, I wasn't aiming, but it does say align with Jakarta EE10 core profile.
Well, yeah, right. But why? What's the technical reason that it can't run on 9? Right?
So
what functionality? Hold on, I want to finish what I'm saying. So what's the technical reason that it can't run on 9.1 anymore? What did we add to MicroProfile telemetry that, or fault tolerance, that means it can't function on 9.1 anymore? And if we did add something that is actual dependent on EE10 functionality, great. But if we didn't, then we shouldn't upgrade the Jakarta EE versions based upon our past vote, which was that we were going to compile low and run high.
I think we have to two things. I think is we have to do not take that literally, compile low, run high. I think there's some other reasons for that, probably not working all the time. So this is one thing. The other thing is kind of the EE10 core profile is being created for MicroProfile. So to simplify the certification, it makes sense for like a MicroProfile release, basically baseline the core profile. I think once we align with, can I finish, please? So once we align with Jakarta EE10 core profile, so that's the first time is release critical profile, and then onwards. So we can say, okay, we don't need to move to Jakarta E11. I think we discussed this when we discussed MicroProfile 7. I can bring up the doc. Basically, we agreed on the call. I remember, David, you also agreed. We were based on
for the umbrella spec, not for the individual specifications, right? And so when we weren't able to get certified on a MicroProfile 6, everybody assured us that you could get certified on the component specifications. And now we're taking that away too. We talked about this whole compile low, run high for a year and a half. We had to vote twice. If we continue to go back on this, I'm just done with this whole community.
And remember, this is recorded.
So it's the other thing is I think is for the one thing is the compile low, run high. Yeah, I do not know. Basically, is when the come put in practice. I think it's for the basically align with the Jakarta E, because we need to align with the Jakarta E10 core profile. So that's kind of break that basically compile low, run high. Like that. And then it's because the MicroProfile release 661 basically align with that, and then bring in the Jakarta E10 core profile dependencies, and then the spec updating the versions with basically the pull in the new dependencies. I think that, and then for telemetry, because it's a new spec, so it's directed basically use the E10 core profile dependency. So that's kind of the thing. And the other thing is, I think is also for the config. So it's basically also the TCK need to be basically reworked, and also some TCKs is kind of skipped and etc. Yeah. I think it's nice to have one baseline, and then it's kind of level up and then go from there.
Everyone here
disagree entirely, but we can go ahead with the vote. Can I get a technical answer? Are there any changes in any of these APIs that actually do leverage a Jakarta EE10 feature? Because that would solve it right there.
Okay, I'm not hearing anything. I think Martin, you and I, from a Red Hat perspective, will have to go back and chit chat about it, about our perspective. Because I know in the past we've definitely wanted compile low, run high.
Well, it's just I mean, we continue to get excluded because we can't keep up with the latest versions of the EE specifications. When we say things like we needed to upgrade the core profile, EE's MicroProfile 6 to core profile, that is not technically correct. We were able to pass the TCK. There wasn't anything in there that required 10. We could have been in one of the certified implementations. And the fact that we're not one of the certified implementations means we can't even get considered for, like, say, the tutorials that are writing.
Mm-hmm.
And to continue to get erased from these things because we just keep changing the requirements because it's just so inconvenient and we think it's better. If we think it's better without more implementations in there, okay, that's news. That's something we now know, that even
not
technical preferences over implementations is how we operate, and that seems to be what's That seems to be what's happening in the last year or two.
We are not interested in that kind of philosophy.
I would
We are
prefer
doing
Bea, I spoke for all the company. You don't need to add anything
Yes.
on top. If people have thoughts, this is a better time for them to give some thoughts.
Yeah, the ballots. So the ballots have already started. So we'll have to decide what we want to do on the existing ballots. I don't know if we can pull a ballot and have the discussion or continue the discussion, or if we have to let the ballot basically go through conclusion and it may or may not pass. And then we'd have to resubmit another ballot if it doesn't pass.
The problem
So
with-
from a process perspective, I'm not quite sure.
We just let it continue. Maybe in the future, though, we want to have a little discussion before the ballots are voted on. You know what I mean? Because, well, that was one thing I did wonder about even before any of this. It's just in terms of actual practicality, that the actual goals of the reviews are to encourage discussion, but we don't actually end up with that in practice. And maybe we need to change something there.
So
we do have they are in GitHub, right? We have technical calls.
Maybe we want to just take the ballot as is and put it up first with like a discuss header that, and then change that to ballot once we feel like the discussion is.
So
Emily?
Has died down, is what was I actually. Go ahead.
Okay, so for the ballot, I think we already had a process. Basically, if you have wanted to do the discuss, so basically you just change the subject to discuss, so you can directly discuss there. And then the other thing is because we discussed this is the baseline declaration for a long time, for many months, and then it's agreed upon. And if you change your mind and have a different thought, I recommend, because the attendance here is low, I recommend you send a kind of email to the Google group and working group to have another discussion regarding MicroProfile 7. So I think we discussed for a long time about make it loosely coupled. At that time, we said, okay, baseline is e-technical profile, but now you're suggesting, so basically it's if I
change. There's been no change in perspective. We did agree on 7 being based on 10, but we also said that we wanted the component specifications to not do that. So there's been no change. It's just perhaps there has been some there's been no change. Perhaps the understanding was misunderstood.
So basically,
Bellissima, Amelia, I've had conversations with you about being the first person to talk after I talk. Do not do that, because it means that nobody else gets to talk.
So I think one problem with our process about the discuss and the vote is historically we've had both at the same time, right? Don't discuss on the vote thread. We don't, right? So we basically fork the discussion. Well, like we said, change the subject, add discuss, and it's in parallel, right? I think what David is asking for is that we discuss these things before we actually start the ballot, right? Is that correct, David?
Yeah, because the discussion could affect what the contents of the ballot are. Right?
So in the future, right? We should. I do like this idea a lot. So we should kind of modify our process to doing that. But we do have the votes or the ballots on the table right now, right? I do like the idea, David. Even right now, you should
just carry through.
Well,
just finish it.
Yeah, but you should create a discuss thread right now, right? And because again of attendance, I think you should create a discuss thread, and maybe just one. Maybe you don't have to do it for every single ballot, right? Just do it for the well, I'm not sure. I have to go back and look and see what was actually started here. But
We just got 3 ballots started, I think.
yeah, I was looking to, okay, yeah. Pick one. Add a discuss thread and just say this concern applies to all of them. And let's have the discussion there. Or could continue the discussion there, because I know that, you know, from a Red Hat perspective, we're gonna go back and have an internal discussion and comment probably on that discuss thread as well. So that's my recommendation. I think you bring up very valid points.
Sure. I'll raise it. I'll raise the thread. You know, and apologies, I'm not able to attend this, you know, this time slot as much, you know, but yeah, you know, I'll raise.
We also have the recording that gets uploaded to YouTube. So my recommendation is once David starts the thread to John, because it gets uploaded to YouTube, but we don't have to wait for YouTube. We can just send the conversation. I think this call has the voice, and it can highlight to those that are in different time zones what is happening, and the tone of the people providing the feedback. One thing that is important is that if we are not utilizing the feedback we are receiving, if the releases are going without implementers acquiring the release, we are creating a technology that is not applicable to us. And there is no anything good about it. We need to back off a little bit. I will go as far as pulling out VCOR and ballots and having the discussion first. Not everyone will do the technical acquisition of knowledge to vote, and most people will vote +1 because the school and everyone's are doing it. And
I tell you what, so here's the thing. I like to be involved in peaceful communities where everybody just sort of kind of looks out for each other. And if you can make a little bit of an adjustment so you can accommodate somebody, so you can get more people around the table, great. You know, I don't like to feel like I'm constantly against the grain. And if that is the scenario, that is what seems to be, if it just seems like we're the only ones who don't agree, then we will be quiet and participate less and let everybody can carry on. You know, we would happily let people get on with the show, you know, because we don't like to, I don't like to feel like I'm pushing people, and I do feel like that's the scenario here. I don't like to fight. I got better things to do with my time. You know, so it would be great if, you know, if we could resolve this in a way that isn't like so adversarial. That would be really wonderful. That'd be my preference. So, you know, if that's something that can happen, great. If we need to just continue with the vote and it's all just plus minus, you know, +1s and -1s, and this group against that group, then I think maybe that's just, it gets tiring.
So it's kind of just for the 6 recording. Payara also implement MicroProfile 6.1. Just make sure it's kind of not devalue the other implementations.
Yeah.
The other thing is if you create a discuss thread, specify basically the component spec. Are you also suggesting for the spec already aligned with the Jakarta E10 core kind of APIs, such as a new spec telemetry, because they have done the 1.0, 1.1 release already? Are you also saying they have to downgrade to 9.1? Or you are just saying
no, it's these existing specs that have existing implementations. You know, I just letting everybody know we do implement all the MicroProfile specifications on Tommy 9.1, which does implement Jakarta 9.1. The claiming compliance with the component specs is all we were able to get, and we don't want to lose that also.
Okay,
For-
so your
or the ones that are already out.
okay, so your suggestion is for the MicroProfile 7.0 component specs. If they are on 9.1 right now, they
Just leave
should
it.
not update to 10 unless they use the 10 APIs,
Right.
right? Okay.
Correct.
Actually, I do encourage you start a discussion thread as they say here, and then it's kind of we can be clear, right? And also, yeah, just confirm. So it's you are okay, like a MicroProfile 7, basically have a loosely coupled dependency on MicroProfile on Jakarta E10 core profile, right? That's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
that ship sailed with sticks, so it's okay to keep having it go that way.
Yeah.
And so we're fine with that. It's a pragmatic perspective,
Yeah.
and if a component spec it supports some low version of Jakarta EE, but an umbrella spec wants to include it, well then whatever the highest, the effective low level for that version of MicroProfile as the umbrella might be different than the component spec, but the component spec at least could be implemented independently on a lower version.
Okay, I'm gonna make a quick comment, and then Jan has got his hands up. Yeah, my recommendation, David, is to create the discuss.
I will start the
thread
discuss.
ASAP. Yeah, before all the votes start coming in. Jan?
Yeah, maybe a solution for that could be not having only major releases for the specs who do the jump from 9.1 to Jakarta E10. We can also do a minor release and backport these changes to a version that is based on 9.1. So your needs could be fulfilled and the other ones too.
Yeah, if there's thank you for coming up with potential options. That's very nice of you. The trick with that is then there's two MicroProfile releases happening of the same component spec, and people will wonder what's the difference between them, and there won't be any functional differences between them.
Yeah, but one is for Jakarta E 9.1 and one is for Jakarta E 10 base, so the people will understand that.
Yeah, if you can run, the most natural thing would be to say the spec could be implemented by either of those things and not have two specs. Just simply say either one is okay.
Yeah, the problem is that you have transitive dependencies and you don't want to pull in an older version of dependencies than you expect. And yeah, testing all these variants and combinations is a high effort on integration testing.
Right. I'm okay with that because I'm an implementer and I know that if I'm okay with that complexity. That's complexity implementers have had to deal with for a couple decades now. So we're all pretty comfortable with that. That we got to work out the dependencies of our implementations. So that's okay. It is complicated work, but that's what implementations do. That's one of the values they bring.
Okay, so it sounds like we kind of at least have a plan about how to, move forward throughout the week with the discuss thread and so on. So I'm gonna put this here again, David. Yeah, creating that discuss thread, the sooner the better. Sounds like a really good idea. Since the votes have gone live.
Yeah.
Ballots, sorry, have gone live. So.
And I appreciate everybody, trying to discuss and be flexible. I appreciate that.
The one thing I think I am, let's see, there's two actually. I know Emerson had something he had brought up. The one thing I'm going to do, and I'm not going to click on links or anything, but take a look at, again, review the MicroProfile tutorial. Tarun has, I think he's gone through chapter 2 or 3. I think it's 3 now. So we should be reviewing. I have to do 3. I've done the first 2. So that would really help them out. Emerson, you had something. I apologize. Mind blank. Under marketing, shirts, maybe?
There is the voting for the design.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Here you go. So I think I need to start a ballot on that one as well.
Emerson can do it. I wrote the template.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, Emerson, you can do it. I wrote the template for the inviting Garden State. John, you have that ticket, and Emerson has the other tickets. You can modify a few things, maybe grammar or whatever, but that is the idea, and it needs to be sent to the working group, and the 2 of you should do each one ballot.
Yeah, that sounds good. In Emerson, there's lots of wording examples too out on the Eclipse MicroProfile archive, right? Resolved, comma, blah, 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 wording.
Yeah, I dropped it on the ballot folder under the MicroProfile working group external drive that we use. So that are all the examples we wrote in 2020 October when we became a working group.
Mm-hmm.
These ones are the 2 newest templates, so they can be modified. It's great to have your eyes to do this.
Yeah, I already did. I had a second page. I just fill up the box and then the you want to take a look before sending it. This will be good too.
Okay, I will do that after this call. Thanks,
Okay.
Emerson, for review. I appreciate it.
Sorry, can you send me, just Slack me a link
Yeah.
to anything you have, and I'll be happy to take a look as well.
I don't Slack. I will email you.
I will do that.
No, it's okay.
That was
Emerson,
meant for
can you do
Emerson.
that?
Yeah, I can do that. Sure.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry.
No, that's
I was
all right.
like, what? No.
Well, it was to both of you, but since Emerson has Slack, okay, yeah, that would be great. I'll take a look at that. I'll get the Garden State Jug ballot kicked off this afternoon here, Pacific time, and I think that's really all we have left for today. We only have 2 minutes left.
John, since David come back, so David, Ryan, I met and addressed. I think we addressed your feedback on the individual component page. If you click the link, and then review was there, and because Ryan and I are going to, if you don't have any other feedback, etc., going to make this kind of live. Yeah,
I think you could just make it live. You know, we can always adjust later, and you know, go ahead. I mean, you don't need my specific approval, but I'm giving it. I think, you know, I think anything can be fixed. Anything can be fixed.
okay.
And I apologize. What
Progress is progress. It's right down there at the very bottom of the page. Website improvements, individual component specification pages. You want to click it, maybe
here we
everybody
go.
can take
Okay.
a look. Other
right.
people might have thoughts. The goal is basically to have pages like we have on the Jakarta side for this exact version of the specification. So people who want to download the spec have a better experience.
The
Yeah.
latest work is at the end, and it
They can
does
see,
not.
they can, should allow them to see the spec and get the list of implementations, and
Mhm.
you know, with the ballots could be on the page, they could be in a different page. It just doesn't matter. It's good enough. I think it'll be very helpful to people.
Okay, and Emily, when you send out,
Thank you,
when
Emily, by the way.
adjust-
Sorry about that, John.
What was that?
I just
Ran.
wanted to quickly thank Emily for spending the time to do that. I think
Yeah.
that was very nice. Thank you.
Yeah, Ryan,
Gotcha.
Ryan spent a lot of
And
effort.
sorry, yeah, we're at the top of the hour. I just want to get the last. Emily, when after you adjust the calendar entry, for the EMEA time, can you reply to the Google group thread?
Yeah.
Just on what you've done, just so everyone's all aware and everything. That'd be great.
Okay, yeah, we'll do. The other thing is,
Okay.
David, I think is if you start a discussion, I think maybe it's better for me to freeze the plan review ballot. What do you think?
Yes,
Sure, if that's something that you're comfortable with. Like I said, I don't want to force people to do stuff. If people want to do stuff because we want to help each other out, I think that that's great and definitely preferred. So
Yeah, I think it's kind of previously. Basically I thought you are trying to suggest the whole 7 is go back, but
no. 7's fine. It's just the
Yeah.
component specs. We kind of had a little understanding of, with 6 that 6 is going to require, but you can still do the component specs. So I would like at least to keep that understanding.
Yeah. So basically, you want to keep the baseline for any new updated spec. Okay, you start a discussion. Basically, I will pause. I will withdraw the ballot, and then the other thing that I know over time. However, we want to settle that discussion with the deadline, right? So can we say we want to settle it? When do we want to settle it? We can't really want to.
Well, if the natural the honest, like the reality is that the conversation, if it's still going very heavily, well, there's a phase. So like, if you raise something up for discussion and you barely get any responses, then you just wait. Then we just start the vote. If there's a very heavy amount of discussion, then starting a vote in the middle of that discussion is probably not going to improve things. Unless we kind of get to a point in the discussion where no one's saying anything new, everything's kind of repetitive. And in those situations, you have to start a vote because you'll never finish. But I don't know that there's a magical time frame.
Okay, we can make a decision next week. Like we'll see
just
the discussion.
see how it's going.
So technical call, we make decision and go from there.
Yeah,
okay,
I think that's reasonable.
All right, thanks everyone. Good meeting. And again, I won't be able to make next one, but we'll have someone from Red Hat on the call, like maybe Martin. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you much, everybody.